How did you get to a pool? Well, we walked to the pool, obviously. There was no buses that would make a direct connection. But this is we're only talking about one pool in Hamilton, which was the Jimmy Thompson, the municipal pool. And even at that time, there was no outdoor pools. In reality, it was the lake or the municipal. And it really was an opportunity for loads and loads of kids in the East End to learn how to swim by just, you got invited at school and you went to the municipal, and there was, 100 kids all standing around waiting, and then next thing you know, you were in the water, and every now and again you got pushed into the deep end, so you had to learn how to swim. Well, I guess there was two sports that I was interested in. First I was interested in swimming. But I was never really a high competitive swimmer, but I was a good swimmer. But I was also interested in soccer, and I used to play the East End Wolves down at Mahoney Park. So I played soccer for a lot of my life. And but it was when I first went to Delta. I think I was 11 or 12, something like that. 11. And going to Delta at that time, it was the beginning of understanding that there may in fact be another way of playing sports. Because obviously I first tried out for the football team, like all kids do. You go and you turn out for the football team. And I got put on the field for the first trial, and I was playing a linebacker and got promptly overrun and pummeled to death by a very large fullback that I was later one of my best friends, Bill Knox. And that convinced both me and the coaches that I wasn't going to play football. So it was look around for something to do, and I wasn't tall enough for volleyball. So it was a case of, hey, I can swim, so let me go and see what this water polo was all about. And it was love at first sight. And it was something I could do. It was something that you realized quite quickly that there was only a head above water. The rest of the body was below water. So it wasn't as if you had to be 44 foot tall to play this game. As long as you were fast, and as long as you were able to stay afloat, this was a game that was really interesting because it was exciting right from the beginning for me. And that was water polo became my first love and never looked back. I've always played soccer as well, all the way through high school and through university. But water polo is definitely the primary outlet for most of my sports. Well, the Hamilton, the high school league was excellent because it was, well, in that time, there was 4 teams. There was only 4 high schools in town. But each team had a junior and a senior. And literally half the players were also playing for the Hamilton Aquatic Club. So you get to know people, you get to them, and you get to say, well, what are you doing? And they're, well, we're going to practice. So tag along, go along and see if you can take part in it. So very early on, I started to go to the aquatic club, and all at the junior level. And the junior level was also coached by Jimmy. So you had this rather bizarre gentleman who was in charge of both everything you did when you walked into that pool. And it was a great experience. It was a super experience. What attracted me, and I didn't realize it at the time, but I realized it after about 20 years of playing. The water polo is absolutely a unique sport because not only you have many adversaries. You have obviously an adversary you're playing against you on a one-to-one. You have the other team as an adversary. You have the water, which is equally capable of killing you as an adversary. And you have the referee as an adversary. So all of those you have to figure out quite quickly how to overcome each and all of those in order to be successful. And I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed the mental challenge as much as the physical challenge, because there's no question in my mind, it's a sport that demands unquestionable intellect. It is not a brute force and ignorance, it's an intelligence and brute force game. And you have to have a certain amount of understanding in order to play it and play it well. No, when I went to Mac, after Delta, when I went to Mac, I was in chemistry, and then chemistry and physics, and that was really where my undergraduate work was. But it was in my last year, because there was no biochemistry department at that time. There's nothing other than biology, and I wasn't really interested in plants. But in the last year, there was a new course that they started in the chemistry sciences, and it was called biological chemistry. And it was the first time I'd actually been exposed to anything in biology. And it really was great. And that really triggered what I wanted to do after I then went to the UK. And that's where I started getting involved much more in the life sciences aspect of research. September of 1964 to the UK. And it's interesting because I swore as I left Hamilton. I think that last summer we played at Gull Lake in the Canada Championships. It was the last time we played. And I had to take a boat to the UK at the time because that was the only money resource we had to get there. As I got on a train at the THMB station here to go to New York to catch a boat. And as I got on the train, I swore I was never coming back to Hamilton. It was going to be thanks, but no thanks, and I'm out of here because there's a big world out there. And that was true for 4 or 5 years in the UK until at the end of my stay, or after the 6th year, the news came that the medical school was opening at McMaster and that there was an opportunity for me to come back. So that took me in that direction. And I finished up my studies in the UK and came back in 1970. Yeah, so when I landed in London, I knew that there was a water polo team in the University of London. So I had planned to go down. I'd landed there, I can't remember what it was, on a Thursday. I was going to the university pool on the Monday. And on the weekend, I was walking around near to where the university was, where the college was, University College. And I saw a place called the London Polytechnic. And there was a picture in the window. It had a water polo picture of a team. So I wandered in and went to the baths, the pool there, and it was a very small pool, but there was a few guys playing water polo, and I had no idea what this London Poly was, but I went and I talked to them. They said, "Well, why don't you come out and see what we're having practice next week?" So on the Monday, I went to the university practice, and it was obvious that I could play and play well in that system. And then I went on the Tuesday, I went to the Poly. And I had no idea how good they were. They were actually the UK champions at the time. But I went in and it was obvious that if I played it right, I could possibly join this club. So within 2 days, I was involved in the university club and also the London Polytechnic, which is the club team. And that was the best thing ever happened. The club team was literally the best in the country. Won all the championships over the next few years in the league. Traveled all over Europe in order to play friendlies and competitions. The university was outstanding because we had the run of the pool. I was training at that stage then with both the swim team and the water polo team. And in the first year, I was on the team and we won the British championships. And at the end of that next year, the 1965, we got picked to go to the World Student Games. And we went to Budapest to the first of the World Student Games in 1965. And because I was born in Scotland, I could represent Great Britain. And so it was a dream because from little to no international activity, playing in Hamilton in Canada, it just ballooned to the point where we were playing, anything from 25 to 30 games with European competition and maybe another 50 games with local competition over the year, and training 2 or 3 times a week. So it was a great opportunity. It was a fantastic opportunity. And the interesting thing was the time spent in the summer leading up to it. I was working, I had my studies and my research that I was active in. I wasn't able to easily get out of it as easy as what is now a situation where people are supported to do it. So I had to pick and choose where I was able to get my time free. And the only time I was able to do that was to get free to join the team in Hungary for the pre-Olympic training that we underwent, which was yet another eye-opener. It was a demonstration of how to prepare for a major competition on about $1.25. And that was about what we had to support ourselves, obviously. And Gino Atz was a magician with the buck in order to get us there and get us the competition. And it made a difference, obviously. The training against international at that level makes a difference in how you approach the next big competition. I don't think we were totally ready for the impact of some of the bigger teams. Our first game against Yugoslavia was rather a severe beating that went on, but I don't think that we were unready for understanding the differences between what we were capable of doing, and we wanted to do it as best as we could. Yeah, well, it's hard because, it's a very personal thing. I don't think I ever accepted, other than being run down by Bill Knox, then I had to accept the fact that I could not be a linebacker. I don't think I've ever accepted that I couldn't do something. And I don't think anybody should. I think that you try to take on the challenge, give the 125% to the challenge each time, and see if you can do it. And that includes all of it. But I have to tell you that I think water polo and the game and the experiences absolutely helps train you to be excellent in other avenues. Because, as I said earlier, there's so many things that you're up against, so many different aspects that you're up against. And all of them are pretty hard. And all of them have their own levels of experience and everything else. But if you can juggle those and still come out as on top, then you can juggle a lot of things in your life. I'm not sure that, goodness knows Sally's not here, so it's a good thing, because you have to juggle a lot to be good at a lot. And yeah, there's some things that you can't always satisfy, and you have to probably put that in the back pocket and say, well, I wasn't able to do that, but you know what? I was able to do this. And but I've never ever felt that I wasn't. If I took on a challenge, I never felt that I wasn't going to be able to do the challenge.